Okay, so, remember this video I made like 2 weeks ago about the guy who said that the PS5 is better than everything else on the market, including the PC. So he made another one about the Xbox instead of PS5 Switch or PC. And I'm going to respond to this one too, because honestly, this one might be worse. So strap in with a seatbelt and maybe a harness, because this one's bad. Also follow me on Twitter, listen to my band Curbside Anthem, and donate with the link in the description. That's all my plugs for the video. Let's proceed.
So, you're in the market for a new next-gen console, huh?
I'm not. I'm in the market for bad videos to make money off of.
We bet you're trying to decide between the several different options available and have some questions like these.
There's an Xbox One in this picture. Like, literally, there's a launch Xbox One next to the PS5. Do you know what next gen means?
Should I buy an Xbox or a PlayStation 5?
Oh, there's so many options. Look at all these options. Like, A or B.
Or does it make more sense to build a gaming PC instead of just buying an Xbox console?
And you should already know my opinion by now. You should absolutely build a PC instead of getting a next-gen console, because they are far more future-proof. They are far cheaper in the long run. They have far more options for you in terms of technicality, in terms of technical capabilities, in terms of games, in terms of game pricing, game generations, game age, backwards compatibility features. Don't buy a next-gen console. Just build a PC. Prices are coming down, just build a PC.
And what about the Nintendo Switch? Get ready, because today we're going to talk about the top 10 reasons to buy a new Xbox instead of anything else in the market.
Super players.
Joe from Seattle.
One of the main reasons you may have to choose Xbox above everything else may be due to its backwards compatibility feature.
Boy, oh boy. 10 reasons to buy Xbox instead of PC. Backwards compatibility. This will be fun.
Both the Xbox Series X and Xbox Series S allow you to play not only all games from the Xbox One era,
which is a great feature, by the way. Not at all poo-pooing that. It's a fantastic feature.
but also some games from the Xbox 360 and even the original Xbox.
Some games. Granted, it's a really big collection of games from the 360 and original Xbox, but the key word there is some. If you're looking for a machine to play older games on, get a PC, because it doesn't matter how much backwards compatibility that the Xbox adds or the PS5 adds, it will never match the amount of backwards compatibility you have on the PC. It just won't.
That means that if you already have a collection of Xbox games, you'll be able to play them on the new Xbox consoles at no extra charge.
And how depressing is it that something that people have to think about when buying a new console is whether or not their library of games is going to be playable on the new hardware? Is that not depressing to anyone else? This didn't have, first of all, this isn't something that PC ever has to worry about. But second of all, this also isn't something that we used to worry about, you know? Older consoles, backwards compatibility was just expected.
And not only that, some games have received free updates that make them look and play better due to an enhanced resolution.
Enhanced resolution.
Or more frames per second. It's like having a remastered version of your old games for free.
Okay, but explain to me why this is, you're already doing the thing that was my biggest problem with your last video. In your title, it says buy Xbox instead of, and then lists 3 things. But literally nothing you've said is better than one of those 3 things. The PC has better backwards compatibility. The PC has better performance for older games on newer hardware. And on the PC, you don't have to wait for the developers to maybe push out a backwards compatibility patch to, oh, we'll boost the performance of this game. You don't have to do that on PC. How is this better?
PlayStation 5 is only backwards compatible with PlayStation 4 games, so anything older than that won't work.
And it's funny that in the last video where you said you should buy a PS5 instead of a PC, one of the points you made was the game library, like the exclusive library. But now you're admitting the PS5 doesn't even have that good of backwards compatibility. The intentions with these 2 videos is very clear. You don't actually believe these things. You're just here to make a video. You're just here to get views. I get it. But also, you're just flat out lying about certain platforms. So I'm not giving you a pass.
On the other hand, Nintendo Switch is not backwards compatible, and instead chooses to sell your old games to you again or make you pay for a subscription service.
But Xbox is fine? I mean, like, it's like, yeah, Xbox has more options for backwards compatibility, but if we're talking about if you don't have a physical copy of the game, what's the difference between buying an old game digitally on the Switch and buying an old game digitally on the Xbox?
So yeah, right now, Xbox has the best backwards compatibility, and that alone may be one of the best reasons to buy an Xbox instead of anything else.
Oh my god. Oh my god. We're a minute and 50 seconds in, and you already oh, wow. The Xbox has better backwards compatibility than anything else. Stop it.
You hear everyone talk about 4K resolution these days, but maybe the best improvement for this generation has to be the improved frame rates.
Yeah, like the amazing frame rates you get on the Series S.
On the previous gen, 30 frames per second was pretty standard.
And it still is on the Series S. Like, Series S is still running a lot of big games at 30 FPS.
And 60 frames per second was used for more competitive games.
No? Oh my god, shut the fuck up. Just like the last video. Just like the last video of yours that I responded to, this one is fucking littered with ads. But I had to stop playing a lot of I played a ton of multiplayer FPS games on the 360, and then, you know, I also have a history of playing competitive Super Smash Bros. Melee, not a shooter, but, you know, another competitive game. The point I'm getting to is that the previous gen Xbox had fucking horrendous frame rates for any competitive setting. That's one of the reasons I got off the Xbox One, was because I, as someone who plays a lot of multiplayer shooters, I felt like my experience was hindered on the Xbox One in pretty much every game. Gears of War Ultimate Edition, that game kind of ran like garbage. Gears of War 4, that game also kind of ran like garbage. And then you had games like Black Ops 3, which crashed regularly on Xbox One, which had really inconsistent frame rates on Xbox One, which had abysmal load times on Xbox One. Games like COD World War II, which barely functioned on Xbox One for the longest time. The Master Chief Collection barely functioned for the longest time on Xbox One. The only multiplayer shooter on the Xbox One that I think was actually legitimately really, ran really well was the first Titanfall, which was a fucking miracle that game ran as well as it did on the launch Xbox One. I know I'm harping on a certain thing, but, you keep saying that, 30 FPS was the standard and 60 FPS was reserved for more competitive games on the last gen. But I'm here, hello, I owned a last gen console, and it made me switch to PC because the frame rates were so bad for competitive games. As someone who likes competitive games, the Xbox One was unbearable.
In this generation though, it's like everything has doubled, and 60 frames per second is becoming the new standard, while 120 frames per second is now used for more competitive gaming.
And all this while you're skipping over the fact that you don't even get to decide if this is the frame rate you want. You don't get to decide if your game, on PC, I can literally choose the frame rate I'm running the game at. If I want the game running at 60, I can just choose to run it at 60. I can make my games run at fucking 72 FPS if I really want to. I don't know why I would, but it's an option. On the PC, which again, you are directly comparing the Xbox to the PC, so I'm going to keep comparing it to the PC. You brought this comparison on, not me. The PC can pretty much choose any frame rate it wants. You, meanwhile, have to wait and see if a game gives you the option to run it at a frame rate that you want. And if we're talking about the Series S, no, 30 FPS has not been left behind for a lot of games. You keep speaking ambiguously. Oh, Xbox. Xbox gives you this. Xbox gives you this. Which one? Because there's a big difference in the way the Series S runs games and the way the Series X runs games.
And yes, if you game on PC, 120 frames per second may be considered kinda slow if you take into account that some games on PC go above and beyond 200 frames per second.
Not some games, like most games. If you have the hardware, most games. And honestly, if you have modern PC hardware, pretty much everything more than X amount of years old can get that high. You know what I mean? If you have a modern gaming PC and you're playing a game from 2009 or 10, then yeah, you should expect to get that game cranking frames, cuz why wouldn't you? And that goes back to what I said about backwards compatibility options on the PC. It's just inherent to the platform that older games run way fucking better on modern hardware, and you don't really have to do anything to them to get that.
But of course, those PCs are also really expensive.
Not really. Define the games. Again, like, define the games. A budget PC today can run older games above 200 FPS, but you're not defining any of the terms. You're just saying some games can get above 200 FPS, but on expensive machines. Okay, what about the rest of them?
Even more if you compare it to the Xbox Series S that can go to 120 frames per second and has an MSRP of just $299.
Yeah, the Xbox Series S can get to 120 FPS. It can. But A, it's not your choice whether or not it does, and B, a lot of games are still running at 30 on the Series S. You're being ambiguous to the point that it's becoming dishonest.
You can't even get an entry-level GPU at that price these days.
Yeah, you can if you buy used. Like, why are people so scared of buying computer parts used? Like, go on OfferUp, go on eBay, go on Newegg, go on fucking Craigslist. There's a million places to get PC parts. You were just scrolling through Amazon and using that as your evidence. You can absolutely get an entry-level GPU for less than $300 today.
Not many people know that even though Xbox Series X, Xbox Series S, and PlayStation 5 all support 120 frames per second games, there is a huge disparity in the number of games that support this feature between Xbox consoles and PlayStation 5.
Holy shit, the first moment of honesty in this whole video, 3 minutes and 7 seconds in. Oh, there's another ad. This, again, it's the exact same thing as last time. I almost want to just download this video and watch it without the ads, but fuck. Not only are your videos fucking riddled with ads, but you interrupt your own sentences with the ads because you're not even putting them in ad breaks. You're just putting ads the first chance you fucking can. You're going into your video manager and seeing what's the minimum amount of time between ads and putting as many as possible in your video. Fucking stop. Have some kind of integrity, please.
Right now, do you know how many PlayStation 5 games support 120 frames per second? About 21 games. And do you know how many Xbox games support 120 frames per second? About 90 games.
Okay, first of all, how many of those 90 games are running at 120 on the Xbox Series S? And second of all, why are you happy that there's a certain list of games that can play the games at a certain frame rate? Like, why are you happy about this limitation? Just because it's higher than a different platform's limitation? It's still a limitation.
That's a difference of almost 5 times compared to PlayStation 5.
Congratulations, you did math.
So yeah, if you like buttery smooth gaming, Xbox is the place to be.
Oh my god, again, your title says it's better than the PC, and you haven't even made an accurate PC comparison. I'm going to finish this video. I have a bad habit of getting annoyed and tapping out of videos after like 20-30 minutes of recording. And I'm just so we're clear, I'm 3.5 minutes into his video. I've been recording for 19 minutes. This is this is the misery I put myself through for you.
Even though many people criticize the fact that Xbox still uses batteries in their controller,
which you shouldn't be criticizing because there are rechargeable batteries, there are reusable batteries. Like, just because a platform uses batteries, that doesn't mean it's a bad thing. It's an option for the consumer.
Not many people know this is actually what the Xbox community wants. From the outside, it may seem that the DualSense controller is far superior to the Xbox controller with all the technology it has inside.
I love how you're not even trying to look like you're playing a game right now. You're going from like the D-pad to the X and the square down to like one stick, then 2 sticks, and you're just mashing the triggers all like randomly. Like, can you at least try to look like you play video games?
And that it's also able to be charged with a USB-C cable, making it far more convenient. However, the DualSense rechargeable battery is not easily replaceable.
That's weird because in your PS5 video, you used this as a positive. You said the PS5 is better than every other platform because of this exact reason, and now it's a negative. It's almost like you don't give a shit.
So when the battery degrades over time, as all batteries do, you may have to buy a new controller or pay someone to replace it.
Exactly. Having one singular option for how your controller is powered is not a good thing.
Xbox gives you the best of both worlds. You can have disposable batteries that will instantly give you a full charge with no downtime, or you can buy your own rechargeable batteries, or even a battery and docking station combo.
Exactly. Why are we even talking about this? This is just common knowledge. This has been a thing since like the fucking PS2.
So your controller will always be charged, and when the rechargeable batteries degrade, you just buy a new one and replace it yourself in a matter of seconds.
So are you gonna go back and revise the PS5 video now that you admit that this isn't actually a positive of the PS5? No, you won't do that.
So while you may argue that disposable batteries are worse for the environment, because in fact they are, Xbox gives you options that allow you to always be charged while saving money in the long term.
I just popped a zit while just fiddling with some Sorry if that's gross. I don't really care. But like I'm just bored. I'm spacing out in between his really egregious points, and I was just fiddling with a spot on my face and it went. Those are always surprising. Yeah, fun fact for my younger viewers out there, zits never go away. Sorry, they lied to you. The whole like, oh, acne goes away after your teenage years. No, it doesn't. You continue to have acne for your whole life.
Are you thinking of buying a gaming console?
Nope.
Even though you already have a gaming PC?
Definitely nope.
That idea is not as crazy as it may seem at first. There's a lot of convenience to be had with a device dedicated solely for the purpose of gaming.
Oh, goody. I can't wait for this one. Like, how is it? This is I'll let you finish, but people have been using this point for like 6 years, and it amazes me that people still use it.
A device that you can just turn on and play from your couch.
I can turn on my PC and play a game from my couch.
So the gaming PC and gaming console combo is actually more common than you may think.
And most people buy the PC after they buy a console, and then they stop using the console once they have the PC. Like, that's just kind of usual. That's usually the common operation. Like, yes, a lot of PC gamers have consoles. I have consoles. But you know what I use them for? Hulu, Netflix. I have my launch Xbox One that I always talk about. I have it downstairs in my living room. You know, I haven't played a game on that in months. I have a Wii and a PS2 and a 360. They're in a box somewhere. I have a DS in my desk. A DS Lite, by the way. I'm old school. DS Lite slapped.
Some people may argue that the PlayStation 5 or the Nintendo Switch are a much better complement to a gaming PC.
They are, because the Xbox has no exclusives, and the Xbox doesn't have as good of backwards compatibility as the PC. Like, literally, almost all of the selling points of the Xbox as a console are better on PC. That's why this video is so egregious.
Because of their exclusive games. However, that...
Oh, there's another fucking ad. Dude, how, even with all of the fucking ad breaks on this video, this is so, oh my god, it's so obnoxious. And my dryer just finished. Sorry.
However, that argument seems to ignore that you'll have to buy each game on different platforms that don't share your progress between them.
Yes, if I buy a game on a certain platform, I'm not going to expect that game's progress to track on a different platform where I didn't buy the game. Like, this isn't really an expectation that most people have.
Xbox is actually a better console to complement your PC because it has a feature developed specifically for this purpose called Xbox Play Anywhere. That means that if you buy an Xbox game that is Xbox Play Anywhere compatible, you don't have to buy it again on PC. And not only that, any progress that you make on the game will be synced across all your platforms.
Yeah, no, this is actually a cool... this is a cool feature. I'm not gonna lie. That's a really cool feature, for sure. But how is this different than me buying a game on Steam and playing it on my desktop and then playing it on my laptop? Which I do that sometimes. I have some games on my desktop and my laptop. I have Binding of Isaac and Broforce. And my progress tracks over both of them. Again, you say the Xbox is better than PC, and then you just ignore everything that the PC has already been doing. Xbox isn't doing anything unique.
So, you can start a game on your Xbox, continue playing on your mobile device with xCloud, and finish your journey on PC, and everything will be in sync.
Again, it's a cool feature. It's a nice feature, but for a lot of games, this is also just becoming standard. If a game is cross-platform, it's also cross-save. So if you're playing a multiplayer game, at least, that's cross-play. Like if I, if I play Warzone on my PC and then I go boot up Warzone on my Xbox for whatever reason, my progress is gonna stick. And I know you're talking about I know it's not so much the case for single-player games, but again, it's just How many people, I just don't see a giant, this may be anecdotal, but like, I just don't see a giant group of people playing single player games in 5 different locations, you know? I just don't see Xbox Play Anywhere as a selling point of the platform as a whole.
Pretty cool, huh?
I mean, I guess.
For many people,
See, if you were an actual YouTuber, this is where you would put an ad break. You would put an ad when the number 6 comes up. You would flash the number 6, have a couple seconds of silence, and that's where you would put the ad break. But because you're a fucking shill, you're gonna keep putting ads in the middle of sentences.
for many people, the killer feature that Xbox has over everything else in the market has to be Quick Resume. This feature allows you to have several games opened at the same time,
At the detriment of performance?
so you can switch between them in a matter of seconds. And the most awesome part? You can even turn off your console, unplug it from the AC power, and when you turn everything on again, the games will continue to work in Quick Resume.
Is that true? Like, is that actually true? Because, like, if that is true, I guess that's cool. But if that's not true, then I go back to what I said in the last video responding to the fucking MacBook guy. Where, like, if your time is so fucking precious that you can't spare the, 60 seconds it takes to close one game and open a different one. Again, just it's a nice feature, but I don't see it as a selling point of the whole platform because I just don't believe I just don't believe that many people have that precious of time. On my PC, if I'm playing a game and I want to switch games, I Alt F4, I go to the other game, I click play, and I'm playing the other game in less than 60 seconds. That's fast enough for me. And for most other people, that's fast enough too. Because we can just, go take a piss while the other game is starting. And it's like I said before, it's a cool feature, but I just don't see a giant group of people trying to literally play multiple games at once with this feature. I just don't see the point. It's nice, but I just don't see it as a selling point.
Awesome! This is a great way to try a bunch of different games at the same time without having to worry too much about loading screens.
I like how you said you don't have to worry about loading screens, while the gameplay in the background of the video was literally a loading screen.
And right now, this only exists on Xbox.
Oh no, I can't switch games quickly on other platforms?
Yes, the PlayStation 5 is so hard to find, and the ones you may have seen for sale on sites like eBay are from scalpers that resell them at about double or triple the official prices.
Can't wait to talk about MSRP again.
This is also happening with graphics cards for PCs, and even Xbox is suffering from that low stock and high demand situation that skyrockets the prices. However, from time to time, it is actually a lot easier to find an Xbox for its MSRP price.
Oh my god, you are such a fucking idiot. Scalpers are a big problem. Secondhand sales are a big problem. But from time to time, you can find an Xbox at this price. That makes it better. From time to time, you can find fucking anything at the lower price. What?
So, if you pay attention, you may be able to grab an Xbox Series S for only $299.
Look, the Series S is a lot easier to find. The Series, you should have just said that. You should have led, the thing is too, I was completely prepared to give you this point because I thought you were going to say, other platforms are really, the prices are jacked up. They're hard to find, but of the next-gen consoles, the Xbox Series S is pretty easy to get your hands on. I was completely ready to give you that point, because that is completely accurate. You're just... Oh!
That's actually the most affordable way to hop on this new generation of gaming consoles.
Again, with the whole thing I said before, if you're being ambiguous to the point that it's dishonest. You're saying the Xbox Series S is the easiest to get and the cheapest of all the next-gen consoles, but this is also a few minutes after you completely left out the part where the Series S is not running games at the performance that you said they were. The Series S is running a lot of games at 30 FPS. The Series S is not running as many games at 120 FPS. You didn't say anything about that. But now you're also using it as a positive that the Series S is easier to get than the Series X, but the Series X is the one that actually had the features you listed. Again, you're just not explaining anything, and it's so dishonest. How do you have no dislikes on this video?
It may not be as powerful as a PlayStation 5.
That's the first time you've actually been honest about the Series S being weaker than the competition. 7.5 minutes into your video is the first time you even mention it.
but is also much more affordable and has all the next-gen features that the Xbox Series X has.
No, it doesn't. No, it literally doesn't. Frame rates are lower. Resolution is lower. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Do you actually know anything about this?
Like quick resume, and a bunch of 120 frames,
And there's another fucking ad break in the middle of your sentence again.
like quick resume, and a bunch of 120 frames per second games.
Yeah, how many of them?
And since all your games, progress, and friends are tied to your profile, you can simply buy an Xbox Series S now. And then when the prices go to normal, you can seamlessly upgrade to a Series X.
So let me get this straight. You get it, so a Series S and then a Series X. Buying both of them, that's fine. But buying a PC, that's too expensive.
So yeah, Xbox pricing is just right and is the easier way to get started on the new generation without going broke in the process.
Xbox pricing is not just right. Xbox Series S. You're not differentiating between the two. And that's why this video is so stupid.
While Microsoft is known mostly for being a software company, the hardware they have created for Xbox is nothing short of amazing.
It's fine. Like, the hardware's fine.
The Xbox Series S is one of the smallest and power-efficient consoles to date.
But it's significantly weaker than the rest. Again, here's a point I'm willing to give you. Let's see how quick you fuck it up. The Series S, for, performance to dollar, is actually a pretty good deal. The amount of, the kind of tech you're getting in the Series S for $299 is pretty solid. But it's also significantly weaker than everything else. Minus the Switch, I guess.
If you have not seen this console in person, let's just say it is really, really small. And the Series X, simply stated, is the most powerful console of this generation while being smaller than the PlayStation 5, and of course most gaming PCs.
Did you really just die to that? There's no way you just died to that. I've put a lot of time into Gears of War. Like every Gears of War game. I fucking love Gears of War. Did you really just die to that?
Even more surprising is just how quiet both consoles are. You can put them right beside your monitor, and you will barely even hear them.
Yeah, congratulations. They made a console that doesn't sound like a jet engine for once.
If it wasn't for the light on the front of the consoles, you wouldn't even know that they are turned on. Also, Xbox controllers don't tend to have that infamous drift that both Nintendo Switch and PlayStation controllers are known for.
For now. I mean, it's really just a matter of time until Xbox controllers have drift as well. I don't know why drift is such a massive problem now.
So if low energy consumption, great build quality, no controller drift, and minimal fan noise are your thing, Xbox is definitely the way to go.
I mean, I'm at the point now where I can't really tell if there's not as much wrong with what you said, or if I'm just getting tired because I've been recording for 39 minutes, but there's only there's 3 minutes left of this video, so I'm gonna power through it.
There was a time when the statement, Xbox has no games, had some truth to it.
I mean, not any more than any other platform.
But those times are long gone, and Xbox has made some huge industry-shaking investments, buying top companies like Bethesda,
Buying out companies is not a good thing.
and Activision to make sure Xbox actually has games.
Buying multi-platform publishers and making their games less accessible to other platforms is not something to celebrate, you fucking dumb shit.
Even without those purchases, Xbox has been killing it recently with awesome critically acclaimed first-party exclusive titles like Flight Simulator,
That's a multi-platform.
Psychonauts 2,
That's a multi-platform.
Forza Horizon 5,
That's a multi-platform.
and of course, Halo Infinite.
That is a multi-platform.
And yes, historically, great exclusive games are precisely the strongest point for both PlayStation and Nintendo, but with big AAA games like Starfield and Fable coming exclusively to Microsoft's console,
And the PC?
this time, Xbox will be more than ready to pull up a fight.
To pull up a fight. Is that what you meant to say?
Selling games and selling consoles is the old way the gaming industry worked.
It's the way the industry still works. I know what you're about to say. You're about to say the Game Pass is the new way to consume games. But I hate to break it to you, bud. Buying games is still very popular. You have the option for Game Pass, just like the same way that you have the option to use Netflix or Spotify. That doesn't mean it's the only way to consume music or movies. I'm just preemptively saying that because I already know where this is going.
Nowadays, not even Xbox tells how many consoles they have sold.
That's not a good thing. Like, why? Like, what? These days, Xbox doesn't even have to tell you how many consoles they sold. They fucking should. Like, what?
And you know why? Because now, it doesn't even matter.
If you're a shareholder, yes, it fucking does.
The new way for measuring success is with services.
And where are those services being used? On the console. So if you're not selling very many consoles, you won't sell very many services. They are preemptively washing their hands of another 8th gen console situation. Granted, the Series S and Series X are doing a lot better than the Xbox One, but the Xbox One was an embarrassment. So they are preemptively preventing themselves from having to do that again. This is not a good thing.
And when we talk about gaming services, Xbox is king. Not only did Xbox pioneer the subscription service model with Xbox Live,
Not only did Xbox pioneer the idea of paying to play your own games online even though you didn't have to do that before,
but it also created the Game Pass service
Game Pass is a good service, that one can stay.
that allows customers to pay a monthly fee and have access to hundreds of games immediately. And it has been a huge success, and one of the main reasons people buy Xbox in the first place.
This is true, you should have focused more on this. If you want to pay as little money as possible for as many games as possible, a Series S with Game Pass is the best way to do that, yes. But that's not the angle that you took. You took a whole bunch of really stupid ones instead.
Not only that, they also created xCloud, a service that allows you to play your games on any device with an internet connection.
As long as it's a really good one.
So yeah, when we talk about gaming services, nothing can even touch Xbox.
Again, you should have focused more on this. This is actually accurate. Xbox has really good services. Like, subscription services, Xbox is solid. You should have focused more on this. Like, why did you wait 10 minutes to start talking about this?
With now more than 23 different studios making new games for Xbox, it's an exciting time to be the owner of one of these consoles.
All those studios, and they can't fix basic things with a bunch of their first-party games.
And taking into consideration that each first-party title will be released day one on Game Pass,
And PC.
it's an excellent way to try them all without having to buy them in the first place. And right now, this is something you can only do on Xbox.
And PC.
It has the hardware, the community, the games, the services, and with Phil Spencer leading the way, Xbox's future promises to be spectacular.
Why is this the video that you're using? Like, why is this the video you're using in the background of the footage? Be like, look at Phil Spencer. Phil Spencer's a great dude. Off a channel with 1,000 subs and 1,300 views? You couldn't even pull from the official Xbox channel?
So, if you think of what Netflix did to Blockbuster and the movie industry in general, in the gaming world, Xbox is actually, right now, the Netflix of video games.
Yeah, I already made that comparison.
And the exciting future it has in sight is the main reason that you should buy a new Xbox instead of anything else on the market.
It's done. The video is finally done. 11 minutes and 46 seconds of his video. I have been recording for 46 minutes. I really have to use the bathroom now. This video was terrible, so let me know in the comments which one you think was worse, the PlayStation 1 or the Xbox One, because these are both really fucking bad. They're really fucking bad, and you probably should be ashamed of this. Toodles.